A new report coming out of China says that Toyota is planning on buying a Chinese electric car company who are struggling in order to help Toyota regain its sales in the country. China has been a very difficult market for Toyota over the last few years. It's been losing market share, and the key reason is it hasn't been selling compelling electric cars to people who want to buy compelling electric cars and even plug-in hybrids. It hasn't had them on the market. So Toyota is saying, well, what about we buy these guys and this might save us? Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. A report says that Toyota is looking at purchasing the car company called Nita, who actually haven't been far off bankruptcy. According to a report from Kai Technology, Toyota is reportedly evaluating purchasing or negotiating purchasing the struggling Chinese EV maker Nita Auto. This is not confirmed, but it looks as though it's accurate. This would help Toyota strengthen its EV strategy in China, says Car News China, while offering Nita the ability to keep its staff to basically stay in business. Nita Auto was founded in 2014 by Hoson New Energy Auto, and it's been in crisis since mid-2024. They stopped making cars, there was mass layoffs, and the company wasn't able to pay salaries for a while. They were looking for external funding. On the 10th of February 2025, Nita disclosed a failed E-round financing plan involving $552 million to $621 million US dollars. Basically, Nita was saying to the market, please, we need some funding. We'll give you as much stock as you need, basically. I know that sounds silly, but I mean, when you're in this situation, you pretty much offer anything, and no one was willing to put in any money. The lead investor, backed by a BRICS nation fund, pledged $414 million US dollars, but that was contingent on resuming production and securing matching investments. That didn't happen. Nita wasn't able to find anyone else. So basically, Nita was able to find $414 million. That investor said, you find another $400 million and I'm putting the money in, and they still couldn't find it. You would think in that situation, the money would materialize, but it didn't. Although Nita's factory briefly reopened in early January, production never resumed due to a massive parts shortage. Why was there a parts shortage? Because Nita wasn't paying the suppliers. The suppliers were like, no, we're not sending you any more parts, mate. You got to pay your bills. You already owe us money. This failure led the investor to withdraw, which collapsed the deal. Nita's valuation took a massive hit. In 2023, it was worth $211 million US dollars. In 2023, a $211 million US dollar investment by a government entity valued the company at $5.8 billion US dollars. By 2025, a proposed 50% stake was offered for $414 million. So, I mean, its value dropped by 80% within 2 years. This, as Car News China says, made early and state-backed investors furious, including 360 Security Technology, whose founder, Zhu Hongyi, pulled a pledged $138 million US dollar follow-up investment off the table. He said, no, it's not happening anymore. Confidence in Nita's management since deteriorated. People believe its management are, kind of hopeless. Financially, Nita has posted cumulative losses of $2.5 billion over 3 years and owes suppliers $830 million. The company proposed converting 70% of supplier debts into equity and paying the rest in installments, warning it may default on wages and social insurance without new capital. Suppliers were like, hell no, we don't want any part of this. Just pay us the money you owe us, or pay us half of it, pay us something. If Nita goes bankrupt, government investors will be prioritized in debt repayment, leaving suppliers to get nothing. Compounding its troubles, Car News China says Nita will face penalties in Thailand, where it previously received $4,100 US dollars per vehicle it sold in subsidies. To retain these subsidies, Nita must meet local production targets by 2025. Failing to do so will trigger repayment of subsidies, interest, and tax breaks. I mean, obviously, the Thai government probably won't be successful in getting that money back from Nita. Despite the turmoil, Nita retains some technological and market value. On the 26th of March, it secured a $276 million debt for equity agreement with 134 key suppliers and received financial backing from Thai institutions and Hong Kong's Soto Tech, which is quite insane if you ask me. If a deal proceeds, Toyota could leverage NIDA's assets and local knowledge to accelerate its EV rollout in China. So I actually think that Toyota have been offered this company, probably basically for a very, very small amount of money. However, Toyota China's brand communications director has denied the rumors. He said, we don't know about this. I would say there's a good chance that there has been some negotiations going on behind closed doors. In 2024, NIDA's sales fell to 64,500 units. And then obviously in 2025, they haven't really made any cars. They only delivered 110 cars this year. But here's the thing. NIDA have been selling electric cars, I think, too cheaply. I've made probably 15 videos on the cars they make, different models they made, and they were just so cheap. I mean, they made BYD's cars look expensive. They were selling cars like basically around $10,000 for a car that was a similar size to something like a Volkswagen ID4. It was just so too good to be true. And I kept saying, these cars just seem too cheap. They're amazingly good value. And I think that's part of the problem here. They were really, they were undercutting everyone to try and get market share. But I think possibly the general public thought this company's not going to stick around. They're just selling cars at a too low of a price. Does Toyota come in and save the company? Well, I don't know, it's possible, but in my opinion, this would not be necessarily beneficial for Toyota. Yes, it might help NIDA, at least in the short term, but in general, Toyota needs to radically transform the way it builds cars. It needs to adopt structural battery packs, gigacasting. It needs to look at how it makes cars. Toyota's current way of making cars is very old school. It's what you did really well back in the 1980s and the 1990s. It was great for then. It was fantastic. But now it's just the way Toyota makes cars is just way too expensive in comparison to other Chinese automakers. For example, I mean, Tesla can put out a car in about 30 seconds off a production line in China because of the way it makes them, using, essentially replacing hundreds and hundreds of parts for a couple of really big parts. Toyota has admitted that's the best way to make a car. They've said it's engineering genius. And I think getting involved in this mess with NIDA wouldn't be a wise move. What do you guys think? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. A new survey that's just been revealed within the last few hours in the United States shows that executives all across America believe China is about to flood the United States with cheap, affordable, high-quality electric cars and plug-in hybrids. Trump has now reversed tariffs. He said, you know what, 145% tariffs, we've now gone to 30%. That means tariffs on cars coming from China to the United States are lower on average than tariffs on Chinese cars sold in Europe.